This video is brought to you by Optima Technology. Optima delivers projectors to educators, businesses, and professional installers. Their products include solutions for mobile, fixed installations, and home theater. Now, I recently had a small speaker shootout that involved many of the products I had in for review. Now, this included bookshelf speakers, active studio monitors, passive monitors, and some towers. That's an eclectic mix, but within that smorgasbord of boxes were the Airmotiv 5s. These are powered studio monitors, and they're new from Emotiva Professional. Hey, Andrew Gash here with Audioholics. And the Airmotiv 5s are two-way powered speakers that can each receive either an RCA line level input or a balanced XLR. Now, there are three speakers in the Airmotiv Studio Monitor series, the 4, the 5, and the 6. Now, we chose the middle of the pack, the 5, which has a single 5 1/4 inch polypropolene composite cone woofer and a 1 inch by 1 1/4 inch high-frequency folded ribbon transducer. Now, it's the ribbon tweeter that gives this speaker its unique look, and which also gives it its signature sound, and more on that later. Each speaker is powered by a 50-watt RMS amplifier, and unlike many powered speakers, the left and the right are completely identical, each with its own amp. Now, to our disappointment, there was no line-level output on the speaker, so you'll need to use a preamp or a Y cable in order to hook up a sub to fill in the ultra-low frequencies. Now, speaking of frequencies, you can tweak the Airmotiv 5 by utilizing the included high-frequency tilt control and the low-frequency shelving control. Basically, it's a pair of shelf EQs that can raise or lower frequencies by 2 dB above 4 kHz and drop them 2 or 4 dB below 150 Hz. Now, that's handy when placing them on a table or desk. Each speaker is capable of playing down to 52 Hz, which is pretty respectable given that each cabinet only measures roughly 11 by 7 by 8 inches. That's big sound for a pretty small speaker. Now, let's talk about sound. At first, I didn't think that these were all that. The highs were very clear, but the bass was anemic until we started adjusting placement. And really, that's going to be the key with these. They're near-field studio monitors, so you got to treat them like that. We had them in a big room, and then we moved them to a desk. Now, you'll want to toe them in slightly and make sure the ribbon tweeters are at ear level. You also want to use the shelving EQs to adjust for any wall or desk placement or to dial down the high frequencies if you feel that that's needed. But once everything was configured, we really like how the Airmotiv 5s sound. They had a lot more finesse than the Audio Engine 5 Plus speakers we were comparing them to, but possibly at the expense of some mid-range detail. Bass, that was a toss-up. Sometimes we felt the Audio Engine speakers won out, other times Emotiva's sounded better. Obviously, program material made a big difference, and it was more about how the bass interacted with the mids and highs on these speakers. For listening tests, we queued up some old tracks, or at least older to us, anyway, such as U2's Joshua Tree. Intro to Where the Streets Have No Name, it was excellent in its detail. Bono's voice was a tad smoother and more live on the Audio Engines, but with the Airmotiv 5s, a new layer of detail was almost missed on the other bookshelf speakers, but it came through on these. Now, cymbals and hi-hats also took on a more pronounced role, and we heard upper detail in electric and acoustic guitars that had previously seemed to be lost in the mix. None of this, however, came across as overbearing. These speakers didn't become fatiguing over time, or at least not over the time that we spent listening to them, which was too many hours to count. I really liked listening to them. Now, one song that really showed off the detail of the Airmotivs, perhaps surprisingly, was Who Are You by The Who. Besides the ever-present hi-hat, the intro to the song has lots of synth, which just punched through with a ton of forward presence. It's these types of multi-layered tracks that gave us a real appreciation for the capabilities of the Airmotiv's ribbon tweeter. All right, so let's wrap this up. Now, what's possibly the most impressive part of the Airmotiv 5 package is that you can get a pair for just $449. Yeah, that's it. and if that is too rich, you can, of course, sacrifice a little bit of the low end and pick up the Airmotiv 4s for $100 less. Or the same goes the other way around. If you want more extension, then for $699, you can get the Airmotiv 6s. That is, if you can handle the larger footprint. Now, no matter which way you go, we think these are pretty profound speakers. They present a clear, precise sound that's new to the market for this price as far as we're concerned. There are options, particularly if you prioritize bass or mid-range over high-end upper-mid detail. But I think that's more preference than better, if you know what I mean. Now, this week's question is this: do you prefer high-end powered monitors or passive speakers and an external 2-channel amp? Let us know by leaving a comment on our YouTube video, and while you're there, subscribe to our channel so we can continue to bring you more great reviews. And like us on Facebook, facebook.com/audioholics, and up-to-the-minute reviews are right there for you on Twitter at AudioholicsLive. You know, also, I was listening to Vanilla Ice's Ice Ice Baby, and there was just on these this gritty texture that was, it's almost hard to hear on the other ones, but it was there. I'm telling you, it was, okay, I'm kidding. You were about to listen to it, weren't you? No, that's just, I'm sorry, I know, I was